This is the evening briefing from IsReal News for Tuesday, February 10th. The United States is weighing options to increase pressure on Iran, including the possible seizure of tankers carrying Iranian oil, according to a Wall Street Journal report citing U.S. officials. Officials are concerned such a move could trigger retaliation and disrupt global oil markets. This comes as negotiations continue between Washington and Tehran over Iran's nuclear program. President Donald Trump said the United States would take very tough action if talks with Iran fail, including the possibility of military measures. He also raised the option of deploying an additional aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East. This occurs as U.S. naval forces remain positioned in the region and diplomatic contacts with Iran continue. A draft U.S.-backed proposal for Gaza would allow Hamas to retain limited small arms while surrendering most long-range weapons as part of a phased disarmament process, according to a New York Times report. The plan is expected to be presented to Hamas in the coming weeks. The development follows ongoing ceasefire arrangements and preparations for talks between Israeli and U.S. leaders. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to meet U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday, with Israeli officials signaling they will push for stronger conditions tied to Iran's missile program and regional activity, and express concern that the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire has stalled. This comes as Israel and the United States continue coordinating on Iran and Gaza policy. New reporting on the October 7th attack indicates that senior Israeli leadership did not communicate directly for several hours after the Hamas assault began, as confusion spread across military command centers and intelligence assessments lagged behind events on the ground. The findings are based on investigative reporting and accounts from officials familiar with the response. The report emerges amid continuing national scrutiny of the failures surrounding the attack and calls for accountability. A new study projects that by 2050, roughly 1 in 4 Israelis will be ultra-Orthodox, with significant implications for the country's economy, education system, and workforce participation. Researchers say outcomes will depend on whether employment and education patterns converge with those of the broader population. The projection comes as policymakers continue debating long-term demographic and economic planning. That's the evening briefing from IsReal News for Tuesday, February 10th.